a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture. Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the SteelTwins.
Steeler Nation, what is going on? Thank you guys for tuning in for another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football as we preview the Sunday Night Football matchup on prime time between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this episode is powered by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Here we go. Okay, I promised I wasn't going to do it.
Why did you do that?
I wasn't going to do it.
You know, we got to hear Dak say that.
Dak, you're doing it wrong.
Heinz Field,
you're doing it wrong.
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, literally. He's going to be saying that every fucking drop back.
Hey, listen, I think Dak's doing a lot.
In Heinz Field.
Dak's doing a lot of things wrong.
Yes, he is. I think the Cowboys are doing a lot of things wrong.
Oh, my God. Jerry, in Jerry's world, how you doing?
I don't know. He's doing a lot of things that he shouldn't be doing, and that doesn't include football either. So,
by the way, they don't want Devontae Adams, but the Steelers are interested.
Of course the Steelers are interested.
So.
Of course the Steelers are interested.
But the Cowboys, no, apparently not.
Well, I don't know. They're going to need another receiver because Brandon Cooks will be out for this game. Not only will Brandon Cooks be out for the Cowboys, so will Micah Parsons. He is doubtful as of now. And DeMarcus Lawrence was just put on IR a couple days ago.
You want to talk about injuries just piling on for the Dallas Cowboys. It's not a good look for them considering how they have been so far this season. They've suffered 2 blowout losses, basically. I would even count the Ravens one, though the numbers say it doesn't. But
they were blown out.
It was garbage time.
It was garbage time. Yes,
it was garbage time.
Yes, and the 2 wins they had were against non-convincing teams. So short and sweet, the Cowboys aren't very threatening. They're not convincing coming into Heinz Field on Sunday night. They're not.
I don't find Dallas as a legitimate threat, as a legitimate team. I don't even see them as a playoff contending team. I don't.
Me neither. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into the Dallas Cowboys, their team as a whole, and, of course, the injury report because there are a lot of injuries, not just for the Cowboys, for the Steelers as well. Some of them are very, very concerning. Another season-ending injury to the offensive line, plus we might be without 2 of our backup running backs. Time will tell. Tomorrow will really tell that, but...
Some more second and Najee's coming our way, huh?
Oh, my God. Please not. But before we get into that, we're going to get a look into the chat. Shout out to you guys for joining us tonight on this late Thursday night as the closing of the Bucs and Falcons great Thursday night football game is closing,
Yeah,
man.
finally a good Thursday night football game.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It's
And we should
about
get
time.
another one next week, too, between the Niners and Seahawks.
Yeah, it should be good.
That should be a good one, too.
Yeah, we got some. We got a decent couple of primetime games coming up, including the Steelers and Cowboys one. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. You guys already know the socials are in the ticker below. The links to them are posted in the description box below. Same thing where I link to Spotify if you guys want to listen to the audio version of this podcast. And today's live stream, today's Steelers versus Cowboys preview is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. As you guys know, they have wagering on live sports, as you see here above for the Bucs and the Falcons. They also have all of the money lines for every single game this upcoming Week 5, including, yes, the Steelers and Cowboys Sunday night game. I'm going to put this might be controversial. I'm going to put the money lines for the Ravens, the Commanders, and the Steelers. I don't think the Bengals beat the Ravens. The Washington Commanders are my lock of the week. And I do think the Steelers get a rebound win versus the Cowboys.
It's a necessity for Pittsburgh for sure.
So we're going to put that all into a parlay. Let's put 50 on it. We could walk out with 187 towards the end of a Sunday night. Fingers crossed. I'm going to place that. You guys can tell this if you want. Feel free to do so at betus.com. They got a special promo. 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. When you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today, using that very promo code and take advantage of all the fun perks over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. So again, if you guys want to tell this, I'm going to hit confirm. And hopefully, the Browns lose to the Commanders and the Steelers can get a rebound win versus the Cowboys on Sunday night. But shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this podcast episode. Just please gamble responsibly at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Where do you want to start off with the Steelers and Cowboys?
Justin Fields again.
You see it in the thumbnail, man. Well, not thumbnail. You see it in the title. Big game for Justin Fields. And the reason I say that is because I think this is Justin Fields' most important game to date as Steelers quarterback. Because, well, first of all, it's in primetime. It's in Heinz Field. And it is against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys don't worry me. They don't scare me. I don't view them as too much of a competitive team, at least not through the first month of the NFL season. However, this is the Cowboys in primetime. This is primetime football we're talking about. And Mike Tomlin hasn't really confirmed that Justin Fields is going to be the starting quarterback once or if Russell Wilson comes back from his calf injury. So I feel like this is a game where he still has something to prove. He still has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And just seeing him by last week, he was the team. He was the only good from the Steelers last week, man. He put the team on his back. He was the reason why we almost made an incredible comeback. It was just a bad snap away from potentially winning the game. I mean, there was a multitude of reasons, but that at the end really killed all the momentum.
It did.
So I feel like for this game, Justin Fields is going to have to, once again, cook. He's been cooking the last, I'd say, 3 weeks. He's been doing really good. His decision-making, his accuracy, him getting points on the board for the Steelers, him using his rushing ability, him hitting the balls down deep to Pickens. He's doing everything right so far.
Yeah. Listen, nowhere near perfect. He's not the perfect quarterback by any means. Nobody is.
No.
But week by week, Fields is showcasing what he can do as QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And week by week, I mean, he's just balling out. Even in a loss against Indianapolis, he balled out. He brought the team back to a near comeback when the Steelers should have lost by a much more bigger margin.
Sure.
And Justin Fields is able to carry the team and get them to possibly winning the game last week.
3 touchdowns all by himself yesterday, 2 of them on the ground. And you see his matchup this week versus the Dallas Cowboy defense, which is very overrated. It is not good. I know they have a lot of injuries. DeMarcus Lawrence just got put on IR. Micah Parsons is doubtful and will most likely be out for this game. They're without one of their starting corners, Bland, on the opposite side.
Yeah, he's been on IR for some weeks now, and he still will be. But their defense, you could argue it's their rushing offense. We'll get into that a bit later. But I would argue that their defense is the weak link of that team.
It is.
Their defense can't stop a nosebleed.
No, because you look at the first quarter of the season. You look at the first month of the season, the first 4 weeks. Week 1 was versus the Browns. It's the Browns. It was pure.
It's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it was pure domination. I mean, what do you expect? The Cowboys beating the Browns. Easiest money I ever made, legitimately. They were the underdog going into the game. I said,
I don't know
thank
how.
you.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but yeah, you won some money.
It was the Browns, dude. I mean, the Cowboys had an easy win. They had themselves a good day. But the last 3 weeks, I feel like it's kind of exposed the team, and it's kind of giving opposing offenses a nice blueprint of how to defeat the Cowboys, a nice recipe to follow. You look at their Week 2 matchup following the Browns game. Kamara had 4 touchdowns alone.
Yep.
What do you have, like 180 yards of total offense all by himself? He alone beat the Cowboys, dude. Like, they couldn't stop Kamara for nothing.
But how not just Kamara, but Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Derek Carr was just slinging the ball deep several times, and that secondary was getting burnt.
Well, you look at the game, man. In that same game, the Cowboys defense allowed gains of 70, which was a touchdown, 39 and 57 through the air.
Yeah, massive gains, massive chunk plays right there.
And then the following week versus the Ravens, Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns, 174 total yards of offense. So they can't stop a nosebleed. They can't stop nobody in the ground game. They can't. Anyone that has a substantial, decent chance of finding some ground in the ground game, I mean, the Cowboys can't stop it. And in that same game, they allowed gains of 56 and 39 through the air.
Again, the chunk plays. And that's even with Micah Parsons in there and DeMarcus Lawrence.
And, of course, last week, Malik Nabers had 115 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Now, the Giants didn't get no rushing game going because they don't have a rushing game.
They can't run the ball.
But what that tells me is the Cowboys' defense is too imbalanced. Like, they can't stop the run, but if they do, you can attack them through the air.
Yeah, because that secondary, listen, I will say some of their players can make some splash turnovers.
Sure.
They can make some splash plays, but there is no lockdown coverage person on that secondary, not even Trevon Diggs.
No.
The guy gets burnt constantly. Kalen Carson, I think he's a rookie filling in for Bland. He's a rookie, right? He's a rookie. He could develop. He could get better, as the games go on. But on that secondary, it's just nobody's legitimate. They can get turnovers, but that's just about it.
Yeah, that's how I've always viewed the Cowboys secondary is. Yeah, I mean, Diggs came away with how many interceptions a couple years ago? Bland came down with how many interceptions last year? But they allow a lot of yardage through the air. Like, they're not very good coverage guys. They can make plays. Malik Hooker is a great safety. He can make plays too. But that secondary is like Swiss cheese. You can attack them effectively. Like, they allow a lot of chunk yardage. And honestly, it seems like that teams haven't really had to do that because they've been running the ball so well. And when they don't, you can still attack it through the air. The Cowboys defense just can't find the balance. They can't find a way to stop much. And against a Steelers offense that is still kind of progressing through the gains and through the weeks. But you see Fields can hit the deep ball to Pickens. Pickens can make plays all day. Through the ground, we know the Steelers offense can get a rushing game going. We know the Steelers rushing game can be effective when they want to be. Whether that's due to O-line play, whether that's due to specific running backs having bursts in the ground game and finding holes.
Or just predictable run routes that they're doing.
Yeah.
The second to Najee, just overly predictable, just predictably handling their running backs. I'm talking about Najee Harris here because Najee,
mostly, yes. He's
healthy, but we have some injuries in the running back room. Jalen Warren's dealing with an injury. He didn't participate the past 2 days. And Cordero Patterson, he didn't participate the past 2 days as well.
No.
So our 2 backup running backs, I mean, they very well may not be available for this game.
And that's why I think the Steelers, they officially activated Aaron Shamplin to the 53-man roster.
Yeah, they did.
That could be an indication that we'll be without Warren and or Patterson come Sunday. Now, that shouldn't shy the Steelers away for trying to get a ground game going because...
No.
Dude, the Cowboys' rushing defense ranks, 27th in total defense, in total rushing defense. They're allowing 145.8 rushing yards per game.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. Now, the majority of that is coming from Kamara and Derrick Henry in back-to-back weeks, but we know we can get a rushing game going, especially with using Fields' legs as an advantage as well. Like, we can really attack that. I feel like this is the game where Fields can really break out for that big run. It seems like everyone's kind of waiting for it. They've been trying. The Steelers have been trying to with the read options and the draws, and they've been getting first downs. They haven't really had any long success, which isn't a bad thing. But it seems like this could be the game where he might break free for that big gain because the Cowboys' rush defense is very suspect. Even the points they allow, I think, also ranks 27th. They're allowing 26 points per game. So if there's a game for the Steelers offense to keep building upon what they're trying to build, it's a game like this because they can attack anywhere against that Cowboys defense.
Big time.
I favor the matchup very much. I favored the Steelers matchups, their offensive matchups versus the defense they're going up against the past couple of weeks because, I mean, statistically, you look at where they rank and you see where the holes are against the defense. The offense has been capitalizing.
No, I think with the matchup, I think you have to, think that, it favors the Steelers right there. The way Fields has been playing and the talent that we possess for sure, and Pickens, just week by week, building that chemistry with Fields and getting some big chunk yardage plays out there. Just the explosiveness out on the offense that they're hinting at and they're showcasing just a little bit week by week.
Right.
The matchup is very favorable.
Now, at the same time, I really don't want to underestimate the Cowboys defense because, like Rob stated, they do have playmakers. They do have guys that can make plays and create turnovers. The Steelers have been very safe with the football. I mean, last week they turned it over twice due to very dumb fumbles, which was incredibly unavoidable, by the way. All Pickens had to do was cradle the ball, and all Justin Fields had to do was just lay on top of it.
Yeah.
It's just dumb mistakes. But for the most part, they've been very safe at turning the ball over. They haven't really done that much this season. I think only 3 times so far. So that's a positive. But they do have, I'd say, a solid linebacking core. They got Eric Kendricks. DeMarvion Overshown in his second year is really standing out. When you watch that Cowboys defense, he sticks out immediately.
Yeah, coming off an ACL injury, missing his rookie season, he's just getting in there, getting it on the action, and he's just explosive.
That explosiveness never left him coming out of Texas.
No, I remember scouting him out of Texas. I'm thinking, this guy is just fast, explosive, just a hard-hitting type of linebacker, and he's already showcasing that for Dallas.
Yeah.
They got a good linebacker.
They got Damone Clark they drafted a couple years back in LSU. He's another good rotational piece. I think he's one of their starting linebackers, actually. So, they got some guys there, man. They got some size. They got some speed. They got guys that can kind of clog the holes. Their defensive line, though, is where it really hurts them because that's where the injuries start piling up.
Yeah, because, again, they lost DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't even know who they have to fill in at the moment. Looking at the depth chart really quickly, according to the depth chart, is KJ Henry. I'm not familiar with his work. I'm not familiar with who he is, but he's going to have to fill in. He's got big shoes to fill. Of course, first rounder last year, Mozzie Smith out of Michigan. He hasn't exactly lived up to the pedigree as of yet, I would say,
right.
At least from what I've seen. That front seven is very bare. And it was, on paper, it looked very loaded. It looked very solid with Parsons and Lawrence healthy. But you've seen, how they were playing when they were healthy the past 4 weeks and how that defense was. And now that they're hurt, those are 2 marquee losses right there on that defense.
It is, and I think that's a massive positive for the Steelers altogether, but especially for the Steelers' offensive line. The Steelers' O-line is going to catch a bit of a break this week because they're going to be without 2 of their best pass rushers, 2 of their biggest money makers on defense, right? Because the Steelers' O-line is still suffering injuries. First of all, they were already without Nate Herbig for all of the season during preseason. Sayamalu has been out the past 4 weeks. He could be back this week. I think he's been a full participant all week, so that's a great sign. They're without Troy Fatana for the rest of the year, and now, unfortunately, they'll be without James Daniels for the rest of the season because he has an Achilles injury.
A torn Achilles.
He's going to need surgery.
That's unfortunate.
He's going to be placed on the IR. He will be out for the remainder of the season. That's awful because this is someone that was trending to a big contract, whether that was with the Steelers or not. This is someone that was going to make himself a lot of money next year. And now he might not get market value, or he might not get as much as he might have.
No.
Which sucks for him. And now this might be the end of James Daniels in Pittsburgh. He might not get extended. This might be very similar to Bud Dupree. Remember when Bud Dupree had his final year that unfortunately ended due to a torn ACL? Well, now James Daniels is out with a torn Achilles, and that might be it for him in the black and gold, which is unfortunate. I don't know if they get a deal done. It could, but
no, well, now with
maybe
this,
not.
Well, now with this injury that's going to be lingering around James Daniels, because he's going to have to deal with the recovery process and going to have to get back to how he was, because this season, I mean, he was a very, very solid addition to the offensive line, to the rebranding of the offensive line.
Well, considering how young it is, he was a very great veteran to have along with Sayamalu. And now
Of course.
Sayamalu is just coming back, and then now we lose Daniels. So stepping in place is going to be Mason McCormick at right guard, I would imagine, a position he's never played before outside of preseason. And small little glimpses, small little practices over at college. That's it. He hasn't really had much in-game play at right guard. As a matter of fact, in preseason, when Spencer Anderson would get first-team reps on Sayamalu's rest days, he would step in at right guard when Mason McCormick would step in at left guard.
Yep.
So McCormick didn't really get a lot of right guard time. So is McCormick going to be moved over to right guard and out of position? Or could the Steelers move, which I think would be more ideal, could the Steelers move Sayamalu back to right guard, since that's where he played before he left Philly, and put Mason McCormick in his natural spot at left guard?
See, I see why you say that, because, you know, Sayamalu was a great right guard when he was in Philly, but I don't think that they do that. Sayamalu coming off an injury and him playing a full year of left guard last year, I don't think that they move him. I think they go with the Mason McCormick experiment at right guard, because if you remember when McCormick was drafted, Omar Khan stated that both Nate Herbig and James Daniels were pending free agents.
Yep, that's exactly why he drafted McCormick, and it was an insurance policy.
So, I mean, like, unfortunately, it has to come to the situation of Daniels being out for the rest of the season, but it appeared that the Steelers had a plan in mind when they selected McCormick, and now they're going to get a early glimpse of what McCormick can bring to the table.
Yeah, in fact, McCormick, because, I mean, they drafted him because, yeah, Herbig and Daniels were on contract years, and he was an insurance policy. If the Steelers aren't able to get one or both back, but he was clearly, I view it as a future starter on this line. That's going to be jump-started immediately, a year ahead of time. So McCormick looked good in his first couple games that he's played. I've really seen little errors from him. So now he's going to have to be there for the remainder of the season. There's a big opportunity for him, and he might showcase himself. He can be a future core guy, a future core
And
piece.
I hope so, because I think he has the potential for sure. I mean, when he's blocking in there, whether it's left or right guard, I mean, the guy doesn't budge. He moves people. He's a people mover.
He plays with a mean streak.
And that's what
you
you want. That's what you want on the offensive line.
Agreed.
The only issue is the constant penalties, but I'm sure, you know, through time and through coaching, he'll work on that. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's his biggest issue is his penalties. That goes all the way back to his college days, but hopefully he cleans that up.
But
and the O-line as a whole.
But I do trust Mason McCormick to fill in. I really do.
Yes.
I think he's that talented. I think he's got uber potential. And plus him wearing 66, I mean, it's a good number for him.
It is. It has a lot of rich history at the guard position, specifically right guard. But I think this is a game where the entire O-line is going to catch a break because of the injuries on the Dallas defense, but also because this is a game where we should really start getting Najee going.
We need to.
And I know Najee has been a topic of discussion for a lot of reasons. He didn't have a great game last week. He did not. In fact, Cordell Patterson looked a lot more explosive when he played. In fact, Jalen Warren has always been more explosive. It seems like Patterson and Warren have something that Najee doesn't, which is burst. Najee is not a guy that's going to get the handoff and blast through a fucking hole like a cannon. He's not that guy. He dances a little too much. Maybe he's patient. Maybe he tries to find the hole. Maybe his vision just isn't all that. It also plays into effect that the O-line and the youth at the O-line and the depth that are now going to have to start are still building, because these are guys that are young. These are two first, second-year guys. McCormick, Spencer Anderson, Zach Frazier, Broderick Jones. They're first and second-year guys. So it's all a game of patience. It's all, just hoping that they do better as the weeks improve.
Yeah, of course.
And they're able to create lanes, and they're able to get off certain blocks and get up to the second level, and Najee can find the gap and find the hole and find some field up ahead. That's the game where that's going to have. This is the game where that's going to have to improve drastically. We cannot have a repeat of what Najee had last week. And if we do, and if we don't have Warren or Patterson starting this game, it could be trouble. It's already going to be trouble because, for example, let's say Warren and Patterson are going to be out. They already know, and every single defense in the league already knows that when Najee comes onto the field, they're running it.
They're going to stack the box.
It is the most predictable element in the Steelers offense for years now.
Yeah. Like we know Najee is having a slow start. He usually has slow starts when it comes to early in the season for him. But it's just every time Najee's out on the field, the defense knows exactly what's going to be happening.
Oh, he's getting the handoff.
Najee's usage from the coaching, from the playbook, is overly predictable.
Yeah, unlike Warren or unlike Patterson. And maybe that's a reason. That's one of the reasons why they're a lot better in the ground game, because defenses don't know what they're going to do on the field when they are lined up in the backfield, because they use their versatility a lot more than they use Najee. Maybe they should use Najee the way they use Warren, which is use him in the screens, use him as a receiving back, use him motion him outside, motion him out wide in the slot. Use him a little more in the receiving game to make him less predictable. We've been crying for that for the last 2 years now, and it seems like that's not been a fixed issue with Najee, which has been a reason why he hasn't found much success. But at the same time, Najee, he doesn't have burst. His vision has been lacking the past couple weeks. So as a whole, everybody is going to have to step up and improve to fix this ground game and kind of be the backbone of this offense for this game, because the print, the recipe, the film is there, bro. You see what Kamara, you see what Henry did. You copy, you paste, and you execute.
Yeah.
That is how you beat the Cowboys. And if somehow they can slow down Najee, if somehow they can slow down the rushing attack that the Steelers offer, you attack them through the air. We know what Pickens can do. Pickens had 100 yards last week. He has had 2 or 3 deep shots the past couple weeks now. Every single week. He is a vertical demon. We don't have anyone else that can do that. We have Calvin Austin to a degree. We have Muth to a degree. But regardless, we also got to start kind of getting the ball going down the field. And I'd say get that ball going down the field a little more early into the game. You know, it seems like they always have a slow start with the offense every single week. It's more so, hey, it's first, it's second down. Let's just run it. You know, it's the beginning of the game. Let's just run it to get warmed up. And I think that's where our slow starts have been coming from for so many years now. Let's start being a little more aggressive. Let's start throwing the ball a little more earlier into the game to get down the field, to get points on the board, and to try to kind of find a little momentum early on rather than fighting from behind like we did last week.
Yeah, and I know last week's not going to happen all the time because we still do have a very good defense. I just don't know what happened to the defense last week. They just played downright awful.
I don't know.
But like situations like that where the offense starts off slow and the defense ain't doing their job like they need to, then yeah, the offense is going to have to bounce back. Now, Justin Fields showcased what he's capable of trying to get the team to bounce back and get back in the game, but that shouldn't always be the case.
Right.
It's fine that Fields is showcasing that capability that, hey, I can do that for this team. That's fine and dandy. That's great. But we also need to see glimpses of the Steelers attacking and being aggressive early. They got to be methodical. They got to be aggressive. They got to have some momentum immediately. These slow starts, these conservative play callings and these conservative starts, they have to stop. This warming up phase, I suppose.
Yeah.
They got to limit that.
I think the way to kind of step away is like, let's just throw it a little more to start the game. Let's be a little less predictable. Let's get down the field. Let's find a decent little rhythm to start the game. And let's get ahead before they can. You know, if anything the Steelers can learn from last week, it's, hey, we got to start faster. We can't be playing from behind. And I guess this is a good way to transition from the Steelers offense to the Steelers defense. I doubt the Steelers defense has a repeat of last week. I don't know what happened. That was terrible. The first 3 weeks was incredible. Last week was not. That was an abomination to watch.
Yeah.
That was just like, what happened to my number one defense? Are they number one anymore after that? We know what they're capable of.
Of course.
That was just sinful to watch. Maybe it was just the team playing down. Maybe it was the defense having a down game, right? A bad day. Or maybe it was one of them Tomlin specials, as people like to call it. I don't know. Either way, I doubt there's a repeat, but at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys offense, they have CD Lamb. That's it.
That's basically, and we know CD. CD is a freaking beast. Got extended, totally earned that contract. CD is somebody else. He's somebody that is not of this world.
CD is a dog, dude. CD is one of the best receivers in the league. He frightens me. I don't know who's going up against him. It could be Dante. It could be JPJ.
It's going to have to be JPJ. JPJ, wherever CD goes, kind of like what JPJ did to DeAndre Hopkins last year against Tennessee Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
Wherever wherever CD goes, JPJ has to follow.
Agreed.
Though JPJ needs to bounce back himself because Michael Pittman torched him.
I know. JPJ didn't have a good game last week.
No, he didn't.
He allowed a lot of yardage, a lot of completions, a lot of first downs. I didn't see anything good from JPJ last week.
No.
The defense as a whole is going to have to step up. I'd say this is a favorable matchup because Dak has not lived up to the contract. The $60 million man. Undeservedly so.
Yeah, you want to talk about overly overpaid.
Undeservedly so.
But it's Jerry Jones at the end of the day. He was never going to let Dak walk.
No.
We all knew that.
He wasn't, no.
But Dak, I mean, in my honest opinion, I find Dak to be a decent regular season quarterback. But there's times where he's inconsistent, unreliable.
He's a choke artist.
Just not exactly what Dallas should be looking for in the long run.
Not exactly what $60 million is.
No.
Worth.
Are you kidding me?
No. In fact, he hasn't had a great start to the season. And I know he also has lack of receivers. You know, when I look at the Cowboys offense, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Steelers offense. Lack of receivers. They have a very young offensive line that is now going to be built up with first and second year guys.
You know, honestly, both offensive lines for the Steelers and Cowboys, I would say it's a similar situation where they're trying to rebrand and refresh and improve the offensive line with new faces and whatnot. You know, trying to work on that. I would say that's a very similar, comparison with the Steelers and Cowboys.
Right. Well, you also look at their O-line. It's incredibly young. Tyler Smith, their left guard, young. Tyler Guyton, their left tackle, young. First rounder, and by the glimpse of it,
roll.
He shouldn't be playing right now, dude. He should be on the bench. And I know, he has to play because who else are they going to put at left tackle?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't he a right tackle coming out of college?
I believe
right tackle at that?
I believe it was Oklahoma, and yes.
And
he played the last 2 years at right tackle, and they moved him out of position to left. And so far, he's committed a lot of penalties. He's allowed a bunch of sacks. He's just not a good starting tackle right now. He is incredibly raw.
Well, if that's the case, then Nick Herbig is licking his chops over there.
Yeah, because Highsmith will be out for this game again.
Yeah. But, we all trust Nick Herbig. We all know how explosive Nick Herbig is. And Tyler Guyton, with how raw he is.
Dude, 7 penalties, 4 sacks allowed already.
Oh, my God.
It's week 5.
Oh, my God.
He's allowing a sack a game.
Oh, my God.
And then, Tyler Smith at left guard is really good. He's really good. I feel like they should put him back at tackle because this Guyton experiment isn't paying off. But that's just me from an outsider's view. Cooper Beebe at center. I almost said guard because he was a guard coming out of college.
He was a guard. I don't think he ever played center.
No, coming out of Kansas State, he never played center, but he's the day one starting center for the Cowboys, and he's done very well. He's a guy that is also a people mover. He gets into the second level. He creates lanes. He's a guy that can open up some holes for the offense, man. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
For a guy that's never played the center position, I wish. Now, we got our center, but we know what we did before that.
Yeah, of course. I don't
So shout out to Cooper Beebe. He's going to have a huge test versus guys like Benton and Ogunjobi and especially Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward, man, I feel like he's one of those guys where he goes up against a lot of young people, a lot of young guys. He's like, hey, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, you want somebody that is one of the more experienced defensive tackles going against these young studs. I mean, you can't ask for, I don't want to say a favorable matchup because these young studs can absolutely hold their own. But, I mean, we're talking how many years experience from Cam Hayward.
Right.
And just, his experience going against guys like this.
Well, what I noticed from that Giants game is they really double-teamed Dexter Lawrence. So I would anticipate the same for a guy like Hayward or a guy like Benton.
They could do
They're
that.
going to try to eliminate that playmaker, that gap filler as much as they can. And they're going to use Tyler Smith. They're going to use Cooper Beebe mostly to allow that. They obviously got Zach Martin at right guard, still one of the best guards.
Of course.
And Terrence Steele at right tackle. So the line as a whole doesn't look terrible. I think it's solid. Reminds me a lot of the Steelers offense in terms of youth and experimenting in certain areas. And, of course, new centers and everything. But what I've noticed about their O-line is they commit a lot of penalties. They get beat up. They allow a lot of sacks. They allow tons of pressure.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where the Steelers pass rush can eat again.
Of
Last
course.
week, they didn't really eat much. Now, granted, Watt was getting held all the time. But, I mean, that happens every single game.
Yeah, of course it does.
Every single game. But this is a game I think the pass rush can really eat again. Like, they can get to Dak. They can pressure him. And, of course, when that happens, we all know the type of quarterback Dak Prescott is. And that's a recipe for success for the Steelers if that's the case. I feel like that's exactly what we got to do. That's the defensive game plan here. I don't fear their rushing attack. I don't fear Zeke.
Dude, they have no impact.
I don't fear Rico. Honestly, man, the Cowboys' offense has zero impact outside of CD. They have, zero, impact, for lack of better words, right now. They just don't have anything of greatness or of substantial shock on that offense.
No, they have no impact. And that rushing attack of theirs, it is dead last on offense.
Ooh.
Dead last in rushing offense.
Ooh.
They have no running back. I think Rico Dodal is their starter, but
Well, we know how we can stop the run. We've done very well all season.
Of course.
That's one thing I can say about this defense is they've stopped the run pretty consistently all year. So this game is going to have to be tossed into Dak's hands. And let's say the Steelers offense does have a decent start and they can get points on the board. They could force the game into Dak's hands and force the Cowboys to come back from behind. Maybe they take what the Colts did last week and try to execute that on Dallas.
that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
I think it's very well possible. I think they can execute in such a way.
So, all in all, this Dallas team doesn't scare me. But at the same time, this is Steelers and Cowboys we're talking about. This is a classic rivalry.
Plenty of history between these two teams.
Tons of history. Super Bowl matchups multiple times. We play the Cowboys every 4 years, I believe. I mean, I think the last time we played him, Garrett Gilbert was the Cowboys starting quarterback. And Minka had to make the play at the end of the game. 4 years prior to that, 2016.
Dak and Zeke's rookie season.
I still remember that, dude. That was a shootout. Zeke torched us. He ended the game. AB had that fake spike touchdown. I mean, that game was a wild ride.
It was a hell of a matchup.
So, looking at the Cowboys team and seeing what the Steelers can really take advantage of, I think they can have themselves a solid game. I think they can definitely have themselves a rebound win. I would definitely lock the Steelers as a potential victory here. However, it's Steelers football, and Steelers Cowboys, man, they always play each other tough. They always play each other close. Very close.
Yep.
So I expect Dallas to bring their best, and I hope the Steelers really learn from their mistakes. They've humbled themselves from last week's loss, and they understand where they got to improve on defense. They got to start faster on offense. And hopefully, man, we can come out here and give Steelers Nation and Heinz Field a pretty solid victory, a very solid game, man. But it all starts with the defense. You got to slow down CD. If you allow CD to go, it could be a very long day.
And Terrell Austin, he acknowledged, I mean, it's not hard to acknowledge CD Lamb's impact and what he brings to the table. So whatever Austin can do to scheme up a way to at least limit CD and prevent Dak from getting the ball to him, do what you got to do. But again, you don't want to sleep on any of the other receivers they got. I mean, they don't have much. I would say their number 2 target is Jake Ferguson. Their stud tight end.
Yeah,
I find him to be a very underrated tight end.
He gets a lot of targets.
He does.
He gets a lot of targets. Jalen Tolbert has been kind of Dak's secret weapon.
Well, he's going to have to be the number 2 now because Brandon Cooks is going to be out for some time.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, they have Turpine, one of their return specialists, who's a very Swiss Army knife. He's a speedster. Maybe they could use him in certain areas. Jalen Brooks is one of their backups. So they don't have of firepower on offense.
Again, it's just CD. It is just CD, and that's it. So if we can find a way to limit CD, if Terrell Austin can find a way to scheme up a way to limit CD, and the defense can do what they can do to stop the run, especially in pressure Dak, and maybe even cause Dak to force some turnovers, and I think we're in good hands as long as the offense does what they need to do.
Agreed. I just don't view Dallas's offense at where they stand right now to be able to put a lot of points on the board. So from that factor, the defense should have a very solid game in this one. They got to slow down CD. We know they can stop the run. And they got to attack that O-line. I think that's the real X factor here is the Steelers pass rush versus that very young and inexperienced O-line. Outside of Zach Martin, Terrence Steele's been a solid starter the last 4 years, but that's about it. Everyone else is incredibly young. So we got to attack that. If that means blitzing more, by all means. But I honestly think we can rush 4 consistently and still get some pressure. Watt in primetime, we all know what he can do. Nick Herbig against Tyler Guyton, I think that's a favorable matchup. Guyton's raw. Guyton's a little slow against speed rushers. So that's a favorable matchup. Hayward, Benton, Ogunjobi, they're going to have to attack the interior as much as possible. I want to see a better game from our linebackers as well. Peyton Wilson's done solid. Patrick Queen could be doing better. But
I need to see more aggression from Queen.
I need to see more of what we paid him for.
Exactly. What he did in Baltimore, he needs to bring to Pittsburgh. I'm talking about a tenacity standpoint, an aggression standpoint, because I feel he hasn't showcased that enough.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
I need to see more of that from Queen.
I'll say this though about Dak. So far this season, he hasn't really given the ball up a lot.
No, he's thrown 2 picks.
2 picks.
That's
and
it.
I believe that was versus the Saints. The Saints in week 2.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple weeks, but that also tells me, hey, he's kind of due. So I'm hoping the Steelers defense can really force. And honestly, I don't think the Steelers defense has gotten an interception ever since week 2 as well.
I think I might be right on that.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. So Dak hasn't thrown a pick since week 2, and the Steelers defense hasn't gotten an interception since week 2. Seems like both are kind of due. It seems like this is the game where the Steelers defense are going to have to force the turnovers. They're going to have to force Dak to make mistakes. They're going to have to kind of expose Dak in a sense.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's not hard to expose Dak. It's really not.
So I'm really hoping the defense really shows out in this one, man. Just slow down CD, and I think the defense can do the rest. Keep Minka down deep. Keep Minka in the backfield or in the back zone so that they eliminate any possibility of CDs, deep threat ability. Double team him if you have to. Just do what you got to do to slow him down, and I think the rest will kind of fall into line. Fingers crossed. I think we trust our defense to kind of rebound. They had a bad game. They had an ugly showing last week. I think we really trust our defense to do much better in this one.
Yeah, defense absolutely needs to bounce back big time.
Versus a Dallas offense that doesn't have a lot of firepower or just can't showcase enough. They don't put a lot of points on the board.
I just see no reason for the defense to have another lackluster performance. If they do that 2 straight weeks, especially to a Dallas team that can't run the football, then we got a problem.
Then we can start getting concerning, and I think we ought to start looking at coaching, seriously. But fingers crossed the defense can rebound. I think we all trust that they will. The offense is really going to have to win the Steelers this game here. Fields, again, it's a big game for him. Attack the run. Use Najee as much as you can. But my problem is, again, he might get predictable because everyone knows when Najee's on the field, he's getting a handoff. So you got to mix it up. You got to get a little receiving game into Najee's game plan, and get Pickens involved. Yep. Still, we have no other receivers that can step up. This could be another great game for Pickens. I feel like Pickens against anybody is a mismatch.
He's showcased that several times already.
Pickens is just
against
him.
Against Trevon Diggs, who gets torched. Was that a lockdown corner? Yeah. One-on-one against Trevon Diggs, just throw it deep.
See, I think this offense, in regards to Fields as a whole in the offense, I think this is a game again where they can utilize those splash plays and get guys routed up to make plays down the field. Not just Pickens, Calvin, maybe Scotty Miller, maybe Darnell again, Muth. You know, it's Arthur Smith's job to scheme these guys up to make plays down the field. And it's up to the players to execute where he lines them up.
Yep.
How he draws them up. This is the game. This is another game where the Steelers offense, in my opinion, has a decent matchup where they can really start showing some explosiveness. This is a game they can start off early. They can start off hot. They can have a hot start, and they can kind of keep the reins coming as the game progresses. This is a defense that allows a lot of chunk plays. This is a defense that allows a lot of yards through the air and through the ground. When they stop one, the other has success. It's just one of those things where the offense should be able to have another solid game.
Yeah.
I think the lack of a true running back 2 might hurt us. Warren and or Patterson could practice tomorrow and be active. Fingers crossed. That would really make me feel a lot better about the usage of the ground game. But the lack of a receiver 2 or of a running back 2 right now where we stand does give me concerns. But that's where, again, Fields is going to have a big game, not only as a quarterback, but maybe we use his legs a lot more in this game.
Yeah, I was just about to mention, because of the lack of a running back 2, potentially, maybe they try to incorporate Fields' rushing ability a little bit more. Not like overly predictable with the draws and whatnot, but, in just different ways and different fashions. Just different schemes.
Well, he doesn't use his legs a lot. He only uses it when he sees an opportunity or when no one's open, which is, as we saw last week, kind of often, actually. But it's not his first decision. It's not, hey, there's no one open, let me just run it anyway. It's not like Lamar Jackson where he's like, fuck, I'm just going to run it.
Exactly. Like, Fields has not showcased that he's a run-first option quarterback. Like, he's actually trying to sit in the pocket. He's trying to let the plays and the routes develop, and he's trying to find an open target. He's actually working. He's actually getting better a little bit as a pocket passer.
That's allowed. I think that's been a big reason for his success is because he's learning as a quarterback. He's learning how to read defenses a little better, and he's not forcing the ball. He's not forcing mistakes.
No. And if he needs to run it, he will absolutely run it. If he sees a lane open, if he sees an opportunity, then he's going to take it. If that opportunity is available against Dallas, then you absolutely take it.
Agreed. And honestly, again, another great game for Justin Fields would give, I think, everybody extra confidence that this is the guy for the season. In my opinion, he already is. A lot of people still aren't sold on him. A lot of people don't think he should be the quarterback. A lot of people still want Russ. I don't want to go to Russ.
Some people even blamed the loss last week on Justin Fields. Some people said that Fields wasn't good enough. He didn't ball out. Like, I don't know what you guys were watching.
Were we watching the same game?
I don't know what
Justin
you guys
Fields was
were
the
thinking.
only reason we scored 24 points.
Justin Fields was the Pittsburgh Steelers last week.
He was.
It wasn't the defense. It wasn't the rushing game. It was Justin Fields.
But what I'm noticing is a very positive trend here with Justin Fields. He's improving week to week to week. He's getting us in the end zone more.
It's a consistent trend in a positive way.
Yes.
And if he can remain that consistency, if he can keep doing what he's doing, then yes.
That's why I say it's a big game for him for a lot of reasons. To kind of give people that confidence that he can be the guy. And not just like to fans or the critics or whatever, but to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, I don't think he's a full go in Justin Fields being the quarterback 1. I feel like he's still waiting on Russell Wilson to get healthy, and then whatever decision he makes, that's the decision he's going to go with. I feel like another great game for Justin Fields, especially in primetime, would give Tomlin that kind of final saying, that final push. Be like, you know what, Russ, it's a business decision. This is the guy.
And that's what it comes down to. That's what it ultimately will come down to. Well, whether Tomlin promised Russ something or he deep down he wants to see Russ in with the offense. He wants to see what he's investing his time into with Russ. It's just the fact of the matter that you go with the best option.
He is the best option.
And I believe Russ is still the starting quarterback on the depth chart. I don't think that's changed yet. But the way Fields is playing, if he continues to play, then you just got to go with the hot hand. It's as simple as that. Sometimes plans change. Sometimes unfortunate things happen. In this case, Russ's calf re-aggravated. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But you just go with the next guy, next man up, right? Next man up mentality. And Fields is absolutely taking that mentality and he's running with it. He is stepping up big time.
He is.
And he's making plays.
And the thing is, like, it's prime time. Like, this is going to be a big showing for him. And the whole world's watching.
The lights are on Justin Fields. He will now be under the lights in prime time.
Like, I don't want to say the pressure's on him, but...
No, because he's no stranger to playing in prime time. He's playing prime time plenty of times.
Sure, but, you know, I just feel like he still has something to prove to people. He still has a chip on his shoulder, and that's a great thing because that's just going to push Fields to keep playing the way he's playing and play better. To push himself, to push this offense. And hopefully that gives us a better showing as the weeks go on. I'll give the offense this, man. What I'm seeing is improvement. Every single week, it seems like we are getting better. The confidence is growing. The system is more understanding what the players. They're getting more comfortable. We know they can get up the field. We know they can get chunk plays. We know they can win time of possession. We know they can get points on the board when they want to. It's just a matter of starting off a little faster and just honestly playing a full 60 minutes of football.
Yeah.
And I know this is a Steelers offense that hasn't done that in years. This is a different system, and this is honestly like 1 month into the NFL season where you kind of already acclaimed everything. This game versus the Dallas and the matchup they have versus their defense. This is the game they got to do it. I'm not expecting it because we should never expect anything like that until we actually see it with our own eyes. But this is the game where they have to do it. It's just a necessity for the offense. And, again, the Dallas defense just is not good. I think this is a game the offense can really kind of just burst onto the scene. I said that about the Broncos game. I said that about the Colts game. I said that about the Chargers game. And in a way, they kind of did. Just not as immediate as I was hoping.
No, but you're seeing, like, after the Falcons game in week 1, just little glimpses week by week from the Broncos to the Chargers to even a bit of the Colts in the second half. Like, you're seeing a bit more. You're seeing a bit more oomph in that offense. You're seeing some impact in there, which is great to see.
Sure.
But I think it's coming at a time where the conservativeness needs to be limited. The slow starts need to be limited, and we need to see a full 60 minutes from the offense.
I mean, I'm not
just a little bit more.
I'm not expecting it, but I think that's a necessity as the season progresses.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not expecting it.
Like,
don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting it.
Sure, but we knew with the old system, the old coaching, that was never going to be a thing. It was just not built for it. I'm not saying this offense is built for it, but this system has given us glimpses that it can be that.
Yeah, and that what I'm saying is that's what they need to showcase. That's what they need to do. If they want to be successful, if they want to be a legitimate threat, if they want to get convincing wins or big wins at that, then that's what they need to do.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not something we're expecting heading to this game. It's just something we're hopeful for, and I think it'll be a big key to victory. They can't play from behind again. Not saying the defense is going to allow what they allowed last week. I'd hope not.
No.
I just don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row, especially against a Cowboys offense that offers little to nothing. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, we got to start off a little hotter. And it seems like the coaching acknowledges it, and
I hope they do.
That tells me, like, yeah, they know that there's wrong there. And hopefully that's exactly what they're trying to attest to. That's something they're trying to fix. But at the same time, coaching always says things and doesn't really live up to it. So it's just one of those wait-and-see games. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's Steelers Cowboys. It's going to be a great game. But another thing about the offense, I will say, in closing, is got to limit the mistakes. They've been doing a solid job at it. But it's not just in terms of penalties or turnovers. It's just like the minor stuff that you wouldn't think would come into effect. The past couple weeks, the fumbles last week especially hurt. The drops from certain players have hurt. Mm-hmm. Like, those are things that we cannot allow to happen. Those are things we can't let up on again.
Or even the snapping issues at that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what they got to limit.
Those are the things that are so easy to fix.
And they need to fix it. And they need to fix it ASAP. Whatever it is, whether it's a communication thing or a tactic of theirs that they're going with, if they have to change it, then do what you got to do to fix it.
It's like, look at last week, for example. The snapping issues, which has been a thing for ever since preseason. Like, that's got to get cleaned up. I think that's an easy fix. It's all about communication. It's all about the center, being in the same line of thinking and just being in the same sense of time with his quarterback and with his entire line. that's an easy fix. That's something hopefully Frazier and Fields can really just build on, and we see less of that. It seems like anytime there's a snapping issue, it seems like that's the first thing they really fix on. Unfortunately, it's one of those things we see from time to time, but hopefully as the weeks goes on, those kind of die down. We don't really see much of those. The drops. Pickens had a drop last week for a touchdown. Pickens had a drop the week prior. Muth had a drop that week prior, which could have given the Steelers an extra 3 points. Those are things that got to be cleaned up. Like those drops is just no-brainer. There's no reason a guy like Pickens should be dropping footballs. He has 2 drops the last 2 weeks. Those are just things that we can't have, especially in this game. When there's a chance to score or get down the field, you can't be making drops like that. You can't be making errors, mental errors like that.
No, those are crucial mistakes.
Penalties. We know the penalties got to slow down. They have been to an extent, but the penalties got to remain at a decline. They got to remain at a minimum. And as a whole, the mistakes, we're 1 week into the season, so hopefully they can just build on the flaws and kind of come into this Dallas game and try to show out. That's what I'm hoping for this game, man. It's Steelers in Dallas. It should be a great game. I don't know exactly what to expect because this could be one of those where Dallas offense actually wants to wake up for once, or this could be one of those where the Steelers offense has the opportunity to get points on the board and to make plays, and then things just happen and things take it away like we've been seeing the past couple weeks. I don't know exactly what to expect, but I know it's going to be a tough-fought matchup. It's going to be a close game, and it's Steelers-Cowboys. Like, this is a classic rivalry.
And it's on primetime, man. As a matter of fact, I believe it's the first time ever the Steelers and Cowboys are on Sunday Night Football throughout their entire history.
Really?
Believe it or not. I think I read that.
That's the
Twitter.
first time.
First time ever.
Really?
This Sunday. Yeah, first time ever Sunday Night Football, Steelers-Cowboys. All the other primetime games that they played on, they did besides Sunday Night Football. Sunday night will be the first time.
That's incredible. Out of all the times Sunday Night Football has been a thing, out of all the times these two teams have faced, this is the first time on Sunday night?
I believe so.
They never even got Ben versus the Cowboys in primetime?
No. Not Ben versus Roma. None of that. No.
That's unbelievable.
No, they missed out on that.
Wow. So we're getting Justin Fields and Dak Prescott on Sunday Night Football, Steelers Cowboys for the first time. Should be a fun watch. But I'm really hoping a better game from the defense and more of what we saw from the offense, just with less mistakes.
Yeah.
I think with a recipe like that and what the Dallas team is kind of giving other teams a blueprint on or a recipe to follow, this is the game where the Steelers offense can really start getting some momentum going, man. They kind of already do, but
no, they're showcasing the capabilities for sure.
Just keep building on it. So Steelers versus Dallas. I put a poll in the chat. How many rushing yards for Najee Harris? Choose wisely. Below 40, 50 plus, 60 plus, or 70 plus. 39% of you guys say 50 plus.
Well, here, let me double check on Najee's rushing yards per game. Let me double check here. Najee had 70 week 1. Najee had 69 week 2. He had 70 again week 3.
And then what do you have?
Last week against Indianapolis, leading rusher was Fields.
He didn't have. Oh yeah, he would have to be.
Yeah, Harrod. Wow, 13 carries for 19 yards. It's an average of yard and a half.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, we can't have that no more.
That's pretty terrible.
We can't have that no more.
No, absolutely not.
That is just. That is awful. Actually, that is so bad. Is that a career low? It's got to be a career low.
It has to be. Like, I would think so. Just try to find a way to get Najee going where it's not overly predictable.
Well, depending on if we have Patterson or Warren, maybe that'll be a big boost for the run game. Let's see. How's the chat looking, man?
Oh, by the way, no running back on the team yet has rushing touchdown. All rushing touchdowns, the 3 of them have been from Fields.
You know who also doesn't have a touchdown?
Who's that?
George Pickens.
That is very deep. He should have had it, but,
No, he's a guy that doesn't get into the end zone often, but, I mean, come on, bro. Like, he's kind of due, isn't he?
He's more than capable of getting in the end
If there's a game for him to get a touchdown, it's got to be this one. Just throwing it out there.
I feel like that Fields and Pickens touchdown connection, I think that's due.
It is.
They can connect for yardage. They've showcased that several times. A touchdown, I feel like that's due. A month into the football, I think that's way overdue.
It is. It really is. Let me see. Isaac back to fix the snap issues. That's a good point. Him back at left guard is really going to help Zach Frazier on his left side.
That's a great point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, to have that vet there.
It's massive.
That's going to be huge because Zach Frazier was saying after the end of the game, he had the, what do you say? He had the pat from Mason McCormick, or I forget exactly. I'm paraphrasing here. He said he had a pat from Mason McCormick that kind of indicated him to snap, and he snapped it, and Fields wasn't ready, and it kind of went into the reason why we lost. Wasn't the sole reason, but just those things like we got to clean up on.
No, but Fields was the one that actually took the blame for it because supposedly it was supposed to be a single leg snap, like he lifts his one leg up and then he gets the snap. But Fields, when he did this single leg lift, he rescouted the defense again. He got another look at the defensive coverage there, and I guess the communication was just off, and Zach was given the heads up, and that's when he snapped it.
Oh.
So again, the communication, that's what they have to work on.
I feel like that's something they should have already cleaned up after preseason.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm sure that's going to be the first I'm sure that was the very first thing that those two worked on the next day. Why is Najee playing so bad? Honestly, it's a plethora of reasons. I'm not going to overreact about it yet because I feel like it was just one game this season. If this continues to happen and it's just a downward trend and what will most likely be Najee's final year in Pittsburgh, then I think it's going to be a massive problem. But a big reason, and it's something we've been saying for years now, is he's just too predictable. The play calling and the coaching doesn't draw him up to success because everyone knows when he comes in, he's getting the ball. When it's second down, you can bet your goddamn house that he's going to get the ball.
It doesn't matter if it's 2nd and 6, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 39. Like it's going to be a second and Najee.
First snap of the game, hand off to Najee. Goes nowhere. Second and whatever, it goes to Najee. Like when Najee's on the field, they stack the box because they know he's getting the ball. When any other running back is on the field, the defense doesn't know what that running back's doing.
No, and then the offensive line can only do so much if the box is stacked, or if it's just certain run designs that they have for maybe a certain running back of theirs. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it could also be a part of just the way that Najee is as a running back.
Well, the way Najee is as a running back just isn't explosive.
Of course, and we knew this. We knew this when he was drafted. I just don't know what it is.
It's a plethora of both. It's both. Najee would find more success if they didn't scheme him up so predictable. But at the same time, Najee, he's not as shifty, he's not as fast as Warren or Patterson would be. When you look at Patterson, what he did last week, he's a lot faster. And he's so shifty, he can jump cut into a lane, jump cut into a hole, and find some open field. Najee can't do that. He's going to run into somebody and just hope that he bulldozes through him for another 5 yards. It's not a big recipe for success.
Obviously.
It's more wear and tear on your body, and quite frankly, you go nowhere.
And he hasn't. He really hasn't gone anywhere.
That's just how he runs. That's his run style. It's not very successful, but that's just how he runs. And the tosses got to stop. Najee, come on, bro. You're going to run a toss with your least explosive running back.
Yeah, if you're going to do a toss, do it with Warren or even Patterson.
Well, just don't do the toss. We're not good at tosses.
Well, if you're going to do a toss, you do it with a certain running back. You don't do it with Najee. It's not going to work. It's just stupid.
Well, Najee doesn't have the vision to run a toss, and he's not a east and west runner. You give him the ball up the middle, up north.
Yeah, that's what he's used to.
And he'll do whatever.
But he just doesn't have the speed and burst, obviously, for a toss. That's Warren and Patterson.
Correct.
That's more of their style. That's more of their direction. You do it with Najee, I mean, what else do you think's going to happen?
Well, yeah, how many times have we seen, and we saw it last year too, how many times have we seen Warren get the ball up the middle, he'll go for a burst of 20, and then we run a toss with Najee the very next play, and we lose 4 yards?
The usage is just
The
so
scheme
stupid.
is awful.
It's just stupid.
Like, you're scheming these guys up for failure. And it's not just in the ground game, it's also in the passing game. That's where coaching, that's where Arthur Smith is going to have to step up to scheme these guys to the best of their ability and scheme these guys for success. And it's up to the players to execute. Just one of those things. 4 weeks in, hopefully they've kind of gelled out everything. And they can...
Hopefully they have a better understanding, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But it's a plethora of things why Najee has been so ineffective. Hopefully this week he has a much better game. And he definitely has a better matchup. He has a much more favorable matchup, especially with Lawrence and Parsons out, for sure.
Yes, he does.
For sure. Mount Washington versus a 6'2 defender for another 6. Do it. That's a mismatch. Why don't we do that more often? Why don't we scheme up Pat Frymuth in the end zone more often in the red zone? He has all his touchdowns in the red zone. Let's throw the ball to him in the red zone. You got Pickens. You can go up and get it on any down. Toss it up to him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It seems like in the red zone, Arthur Smith is just afraid to throw the ball. Or he's just, I don't know. Something with him in the red zone sometimes is just lame. You know, it seems like he's too scared to make a mistake. And thank God for Fields' legs, because if we didn't have a mobile quarterback, I don't think we scored those 2 touchdowns.
Probably not. Probably not.
That's one great thing we have about Fields is he can run the ball.
He sees that opening, he sees that hole, that opportunity. He's going to be running for that.
As long as the swear jar doesn't get thrown, we win. I can't promise that.
Yeah, that's why we lost, because you threw the swear jar.
How's that my fault?
Because, I mean, the comment makes sense. As long as the swear jar don't get thrown, we win. You threw it last week and we lost. But the first 3 weeks, listen, there were mistakes in those first 3
What
weeks.
did you want me to throw?
Nothing. You had a hat.
I had to throw something.
Come on. No. The first 3 weeks you thrown the hat and, hey, we won. Then you decided to change it up. You want to throw the swear jar and look, we lost.
Fine, I'll throw the hat. You got it? I'll throw the hat.
Sure. That way, all right. If we beat Dallas because you threw the hat because Steelers made a mistake, then we know.
But it's gotta be warranted.
Well, yeah, it's got to be warranted.
I can't just throw a hat.
Yeah, it's got to be warranted.
I can't just be.
Listen, the Steelers do like 2 or 3 mistakes a week.
I can't just throw a hat for superstition. I gotta throw it because it's warranted.
I'm sure it will be. This is Steelers we're talking about.
This is Steelers football, man. God, I ain't gonna lie, man. I got a little over-animated last week.
But keep in mind, we're gonna have this. I'm gonna make sure this is filled up so we can't throw it. This wasn't filled up last week, was it?
No.
That's why. We gotta fill this. We gotta fill this puppy up.
Would you like to see a Fields extension?
I'm up for it.
I mean, who else are we gonna have a quarterback next year?
I'm up for it.
I always thought, like, no matter what, Fields was going to be within the quarterback competition next year. So, yeah, give him. I don't know how big of an extension it would be. Maybe another 1-2 year deal.
I can see it. I can see a 2-year deal.
$30 million guaranteed.
But you're gonna need to have somebody, part of the room, because everybody we have right now, they're not under contract for next season. So you got to bring somebody back. Right. Now, of course, right now, yeah, you go with Fields.
I'd like to see what Champlin can do over Najee. Well, we might see that on Sunday night. He's on the 53 now. I'd anticipate him to get playing time. Arthur Smith loves to utilize all his running backs. So we might see some of Champlin. I'd anticipate it, actually. But yeah, I want to see what he can do. He might be used more as that receiving guy, but
he could be. But it's a big opportunity for Champlin. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he mentioned in an interview that he was, before he got the call from the Steelers, that he was a substitute teacher.
He was a substitute teacher?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Wow. Would you draft a running back from Boise State first or second round due to the beast? I don't know if I'd take a running back that early, but I would definitely take a running back next year in the draft if Najee isn't back, which I don't anticipate. But I don't think I would draft a running back that high because Warren will be back. Patterson maybe, but he's not getting any younger. I doubt Najee's back. I want to draft a running back that high. Maybe they sign somebody.
I don't think you need to.
But,
I mean, Warren's going to be he's going to be tendered for sure. Though I would argue, just give him the extension.
But I'm not gonna lie, Ashton Genty would be fucking incredible.
Of course, that'd be nice.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I just don't know if I draft running back that high. I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a need next year. We're gonna need somebody, but I don't think that desperate. How do y'all feel about Devontae Adams? Well, we made a video on him. What was it? 2 days ago?
Yes. When the news broke out that he informed the team that he preferred to be traded.
And yes, the update is that. I mean, there's not much of an update, but yeah, he prefers to go to the Jets.
Mainly the Jets. He also mentioned the Saints because of Derek Carr, which is obvious. He'd rather play with somebody that he has previous experience playing for.
Yeah.
Success playing with A-Rod, we all know that. Success playing with Carr, we all know that.
Well, the thing is, the Saints can't afford him because they're in cap hell.
The Jets, they'll just throw whatever.
The Jets have,
just to make it possible.
The Jets have everything to trade for him, but it's also one of those things where he doesn't have a no trade clause. It's not like Ayuk where he can pick and choose. He's gonna have his preferences, but at the same time, it could just be one of those things where he doesn't have a no trade clause, but he could still also say, "I'm not gonna play for you." And then either the team that wants to trade for him pulls out, or the Raiders will be like, "Fuck, well, we gotta pick someone else now." He's not gonna leave if he doesn't want to go over there, or this team's not gonna agree to a trade if he doesn't want to play for him. Could be like an Antonio Brown situation.
I don't see
Antonio Brown and Bill situation.
I don't see that attitude coming out of Adams. I really don't. Because there's been reports stating that he is open to playing for various teams that are interested in him. One of them,
we're interested.
One of them is the Steelers.
We're interested.
One of them is the Steelers.
And at this point, I think we might be getting a sign-up.
It's inevitable.
I'm just saying.
I think it's inevitable. Leading up to the trade deadline November 5th, I think it's inevitable.
I'm just saying. The sign will say, "Go get Adams." I don't know when it'll be up, but it might be up. We have the poster. We have everything that we need. It might be up. But yeah, I think let me make that a new poll in the chat.
I'm telling you right now, Van Jefferson is not panning out. I don't think he will.
No, and Roman Wilson, I don't know if you guys seen his route running video on Twitter.
Yep. Yeah, now I see why Tomlin ain't activating the guy.
His breaks are just slow.
They're slow. Compared to how he was before he got the injury, he was quick on that route. But then you look at what he's doing now, Fields throws that ball. If he does that route, if he's active, intercepted all day, every time. Wilson's still hurt. Roman Wilson's still hurt.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. I believe he was a full participant, if I'm not mistaken, still. But he's not even... Is he even on the... I don't think he is.
He's not... No, he's been on the injury report for a while.
Okay, then.
But clearly, I think it was his ankle.
Thought it was a hamstring.
Or hamstring, whatever it was. I forget the injury, but it's still bugging him.
Yeah, he's not on the injury report this week, but it's obvious that he's not ready health-wise.
No.
At least not yet.
No, they're still trying to get him acclimated to the playbook, and if he's not healthy enough, then he's not.
And honestly, at this point, I really don't know when we see Roman Wilson. I don't know when he gets fully healthy from it, but with the unknown right there, that's even more motivation to go trade for Adams, to get Adams.
Oh yeah, we're good. God knows we need one, but until then, more opportunities for Calvin Austin and Scotty Miller. They'll play Van Jefferson because he's a vet, but he literally offers nothing.
He's just a motion man.
Yeah, really. He's a distraction.
You see Van Jefferson motion around he's the only one that does the motions from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's the guy that does the majority of the motions, I should say.
Right. I don't know why we signed Van Jefferson in the first place. He's bad. He can't get separation. I don't know. Because of his experience with Arthur Smith and the fact that he's a veteran. Tomlin loves his veterans. He loves his veteran receivers.
Yeah, because they really pan out.
It was just... I never understood the signing. I still don't know now. He offers nothing. Literally nothing. I mean,
He's just kind of there.
he's got a job. Good for him. Is Troy's kneecap injury the same knee that he injured in camp? I believe so, Chad. I believe so. And, yeah, he'll be out for the remainder of the regular season. He's on IR.
Yeah.
Soon James Daniels will join him. Think about that, man. Our projected original offensive line on the right side was Nate Herbig at center, James Daniels, and Troy Fatano. They're all on IR. They're all done for the year.
Yeah, they are.
And now we have Zach Frazier, thankfully at center. We got projectedly Mason McCormick at right guard and Broderick Jones at right tackle.
Yeah, and that's a month into the NFL season.
Yeah, this is
That's a
this
month.
is just a month, man. This is just a month.
Dude, knock on wood. Knock on freaking wood. This amount of O-line injuries just a month into the regular season.
Knock on wood. Let's hope Pickens stays healthy, and let's hope to God the defense stays intact as much as possible.
Yeah.
For the love of God, please. If we suffer any more injuries anywhere else, I'm afraid, man, we might start cracking. Like, the foundation might start cracking, and then everything's going to get flooded. It's I don't know, man.
It's the last thing that we need to happen.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, we really don't want that. Let me see. What's the poll at? Of course, 83% of you guys say yes, Steelers should trade for Devontae Adams. Now, I'm going to put a new poll in the chat. What would you trade for him? Now there's only 2 options. No, there's a couple options, actually.
No,
Second round pick plus
Well,
player.
that's what the Raiders want. They want a second round pick and extra compensation or additional compensation. Also got to work out Adams' contract and whatnot. Whoever wants to trade for him or is looking to trade for him.
Well, I heard the Bills were involved. The Steelers were involved. The Jets are involved. The Saints are involved. Is that it?
I think I heard even the Niners were involved for some reason. I don't know.
The Niners?
I don't know why. It's just a name I heard on social
Is
media.
Ricky Pearsall in that? I mean, granted, he did
I don't
get
know.
shot through the fucking
honestly,
chest.
I don't know what the update is on Ricky. I haven't checked yet.
I don't know it. I mean, hey, he's walking. He's fine. He's healthy. He's alive. That's a blessing.
I mean,
for
the way
him.
I see it, the Niners are just fine at wide receiver. You seen Jennings?
Yes, he's top 5 receiving yards.
Like Jennings is bowling out
Yeah.
in the absence of Debo.
Yeah. I mean, dude, what did he have? Like 3 touchdowns a couple weeks ago? Like, what the hell?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, that's just random, man. That's just random. Quick ad break. I want to thank BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring this live stream. I'm going to show the specials they have for the Steelers versus Cowboys game on Sunday night, man. So this is another cool thing they have. They have these football props here for the Steelers and Cowboys game. They got first scoring play of the game. Cowboys touchdown, Cowboys field goal, Cowboys any other score. Same thing for the Steelers. Total touchdowns, over or under 4 touchdowns. Total field goals scored in the game. Shortest touchdown in the game. Longest field goal in the game. They even got winning margins. Do you guys think the Steelers or Cowboys can win by this amount? Rob, what are you thinking? Chat. Let's place a wager here. How much? Do you think the Steelers win? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. How much?
How much?
How much? Okay. What's the winning margin? How many points do they win by?
Honestly, I mean, considering the history and how tough they fight each other almost every time, I could see by a field goal.
So
I think it could come down to one of the more dependable kickers they got. Yeah.
So you're saying
Brendan Aubrey versus Chris Boswell.
So you're saying Steelers to win by 1 or 6 points here? Yes or no?
Yes.
Alrighty. So we're gonna place it because Rob is very confident the Steelers win by 1 or 6 points. So you see the betting odds are plus 300. So you place 10, you win another 30. I'm gonna place this one. They got so many other cool props, not just for the Steelers and Cowboys, for every single game this upcoming week, week 5, man. It's going to be another great week, another great Sunday of football. We already got Thursday night tonight, where in overtime, the Falcons beat the Bucs. They come back, and they win in overtime, man. So you already see exciting football is already happening, man. So week 5 is going to be another great one. If you guys need a new sports book this week for the NFL week 5, BetUS got you covered, man. So we're gonna confirm this and take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today. Take advantage of all those perks and just please gamble responsibly. As we see the update on the poll, so I asked the chat, would you guys trade? What would you trade for Devontae Adams? The majority of you guys say you guys would trade a 3rd-round pick plus other compensation. I'd say just a 3rd, but maybe I'm just being unrealistic there. I think a 3rd is just fine.
I mean, you have to entice the Raiders because they want at least a 2nd, but, the report mentions other or additional comp. Just a 3rd, that won't do with the Raiders. You're going to have to entice them with something. What that is, I don't know. That could be next year's capital. That could be the year before that's capital. That could be...
It could be anything.
That could be a player. Who that could be, I don't know.
Well, they're going to want something now.
Of course they're going to want something now. Pierce is going to want something now.
They're going to want something next year.
I don't know.
No one knows, man.
Absolutely throw a 3rd in there. After that, I don't know. That's where I'm kind of at a roadblock.
Well, I think everyone is right now because this is just the beginning of the saga. But yeah, I do want Devontae Adams in Pittsburgh. And no, I don't care about his age. I don't care about his contract. That can all be sorted out easily.
I'm not worried about that.
The Steelers wouldn't make a move like that if they didn't know what they were doing. They know how to figure that out. Omar Khan himself knows how to figure that out. He can do that by himself.
Man does it for a living.
Literally. I mean, come on. Let me see. How are we looking in the chat? Fields can keep scoring higher each week, maybe 28 points by halftime. By halftime would be substantial. That would be great. I wish. I doubt it, but that'd be great.
Kind of hard to believe it, but I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see.
I don't know, man.
Just a little bit.
What do you guys think the final score will be on Sunday night? He says, I got Steelers 24-13, says Cade 007. I like that score, man. I really do. That's a strong performance by the defense, and it shows the offense can still get points on the board. I'd be very comfortable with that. 24-13 is a good one. I think that's how we'll close out the stream, man, because it's getting into what, Friday morning now. So happy Friday. It's the end of the work week for a lot of us, and that means one day closer to Sunday Night Football. So, Rob, what is your final score prediction for the Steelers versus Cowboys? In chat, feel free to put your guys' prediction as well.
Score prediction, I mentioned that it could come down to a field goal, whether that's from Brendan Aubrey or Chris Boswell, 2 very reliable kickers. Probably see them a lot more often than both teams' fan bases probably would like to, but at least both teams know they got a great kicker. But I'm thinking maybe 24-21 win by Pittsburgh.
Okay. I'm going to be bold here. I say the Steelers have a new season high in points.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Steelers win 26-19.
Okay. I like that.
I think it's going to be within 7 points. I think it's going to be within a touchdown. It could come down to one of those, could come down to the wire where it's like one of them final end of game type situations.
Hey, it very well could.
It seems like it's going to be that because that's how Steelers Cowboys roll. Every single game, that they have, or at least recently, it's come down to that. You look at 2012, and you go back to 2008 when Deshae Townsend got the pick 6. It came down to a situation like that. 2012, similar situation. 2016, very evident. We thought Steelers had it, and then Zeke ruined our fucking holiday. And then in 2020, it came down to that situation all over again.
Yeah.
Now 2024. It's every 4 years, it kind of has the same ending.
Yeah, you can expect it to be the same case for sure.
It's Steelers Cowboys, man. I'm very excited. This type of game hits us personally because we know tons of Cowboys fans.
There's Cowboys fans in our own family.
From family to friends to work. I know a
All
lot
the above.
of Cowboys fans.
Yes.
I know a ton of Cowboys fans, some better than others, but shout out to the Cowboys fans out there. Shout out to the cool ones, man. Shout out to the ones we know. You guys know who you are. Shout out to you guys, man. But no, this is gonna be a great game. This always hits us personally with us. Plus, it's just a classic game, and you think about the rich history these two teams have. They're both two of the most respected franchises in the league, and
Yeah, established and just historic franchises.
it's Sunday.
We all know it.
And it's on primetime. It's on Sunday night, man. So, at the end of the day, let's get a dub. I feel like going 4-1. I feel like getting a win back, and I don't feel like winning two, or I don't feel like losing two straight. That wouldn't be good. That gave us a bad taste in our mouth, man. I want to win back. I want to get back in the win column. I want to get back on the win streak here, as it's still early into the season. I think it's a necessity, and this is a favorable matchup for the Steelers offense, for the Steelers in general. If they play up to par, if they improve on what they fucked up on last week, this could be a game where in Heinz Field they could have themselves a very solid game, man. So it's exciting. It gives me hope that they come out with the dub and we go 4-1.
Yeah, the Steelers right now, I mean, coming off the Colts loss, they're still sitting pretty fondly, pretty nicely at 3-1, But, why not get a bit more comfortable with 4-1?
I love it. Honestly, it seems like last week it wasn't like an awful loss. It was one that like
It wasn't a blowout.
no, it wasn't terrible. It's one of those where like, the team showed they stayed in it.
They showed fight.
They had
something they haven't done in years.
It's like they had a rough start. They had a rough first half, but they really stayed in it towards the end, specifically the offense.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a chance, and it seems like, you know what? In this game versus the Cowboys, they got a real good shot at getting back into the win column.
Of course they do.
So Sunday night, it's gonna be great. You guys know we'll be live for it. So at the end of the day, here we go, Steelers. Let's get another win, man. Steelers, Cowboys, Justin Fields, we need a big game from you. Defense, we need a rebound. And Najee, we need a big game from you, man. So let's hope everything goes right. And come Sunday night, 40-something hours, 70-something hours from now, 72 hours from now, we'll be looking at 4-1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As we, after this, look towards the Raiders in more ways than one. Wink, wink. Go get Adams, by the way. I'm just going to put it out there.
Hey, we're on to Dallas.
We are on to Dallas. Let us know your guys' thoughts, man. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on this live stream. Thanks to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring this live stream. Take advantage of their 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today. Thanks to them for sponsoring. Thanks to you guys for watching. As always, appreciate you guys for everything. And we'll see you on Sunday night. So here we go, Steelers. And by Sunday night, we better have a win. Otherwise, I'm going to be very upset. Very upset. Here we go, Steelers, man. Thank you, guys.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!